Is Elon Musk finally getting called out for what he's doing? Tesla stocks are dropping like a rock, and banks are unloading his debt from X. If you didn't know, in 2022, Musk bought X for $44 billion. And, the way a billionaire like him operates is he borrows money. Most of his wealth is in his Tesla stock. He uses that money as leverage to borrow money from banks to live off of, to buy whatever companies he buys and stuff. It's not like he has, whatever he's worth now, $270 billion in cash. Most of it is in Tesla stock. And most of Tesla's stock, to be honest, is inflated a lot because of Elon Musk and other factors, within the tech industry. Why most tech stocks are inflated, stock buybacks and other things like too much hype about the stock. It's a bubble right now with the tech stocks, Amazon, Tesla, Nvidia. And when that bubble breaks, it'll come back down to earth and Elon Musk will lose, a significant portion of his wealth. Anyway, let's look at some of the headlines. So banks sell down 5.5 billion of Musk's X debt to investors, source says. This is from Reuters, a very reliable source. February 5th, Reuters, I think it's called. Banks led by Morgan Stanley have sold 5.5 billion of some 13 billion of debt they lent to support Elon Musk's $44 billion acquisition of Twitter, now called X, in 2022, said a source with knowledge of the deal. The acquisition was funded by a $6.5 billion secured term loan, a $500 million revolving credit facility, $3 billion unsecured loan, and $3 billion of secured loans. One investor source said the deal was offered to a small group of investors by the bank consortium that also included a bunch of banks, Barclays, Mitsubishi. They were looking for minimum commitments to the hundreds of millions of dollars, this source said. It is likely, at 97 cents, it is likely they sold at a profit, he added. Wall Street Journal earlier reported the sale of the loan. Banks typically sell such loans to investors soon after the deal is done. In the case of X, they have been stuck holding it. Musk's sweeping changes to the platform, including laying off many people who work to moderate content, and one of the posts on X scared away advertisers and hit revenues that reduced the value of the debt as the risk of default increased. He said he wanted it to be where the free speech platform where you could say whatever you want without being, getting your account locked or canceled. And it basically turned into a place for white supremacists and Nazis to gather. And a lot of people left because they just didn't want to deal with the hate on there. And some of the people who left were advertisers. And so Musk is now suing the advertisers, including Lego, and Amazon was one of them, but I think they worked out a deal because I think Amazon is advertising on there again. But we'll get to that in a minute. But the banks were confident of finding more traction with investors after Trump's election victory in November, and Musk's emergence as a close aide to the new president was expected to drive more traffic to the X platform. One investor who did not participate in the deal said buyers were likely feeling more confident about the business. One selling point was that investors will gain exposure to X's stake in Musk's artificial intelligence startup XAI, according to a Bloomberg News report earlier. That was probably hindered a little by the DeepSeek release out of China, which made Musk's and all the other American AI platforms look foolish, coming in at a dirt cheap price to build it and using much less energy to run it, and scoring better on all the metrics than all the American AI platforms. Another investor source from a large high yield fund manager who was offered the loan, however, said he declined because it was unclear Musk's closeness was giving X's revenues a boost big enough to justify him buying debt with no credit ratings at even 90 to 95 cents to the dollar. Bank of America, Barclays, Mizuzu, and Societe Generale declined to comment, and other banks did not immediately respond to the request for comment. So it sounds like they're basically losing money on this deal. They're just dumping the debt, trying to get rid of it because Musk, who knows how it's going to turn out, but it seems like Musk and his merry band of 20 somethings that are trying to take apart the government from within may end up in prison at some point. I mean, we'll have to see. Trump has a lot of power, and but all it takes is Musk to get on his bad side, and Musk loses Trump's protection, and Musk is probably going to go to prison, or at least his workers, his 20 something tech geeks he's got out there taking apart the government from within, they're definitely breaking the law. And in my opinion, they should all be in jail. So here you see the headlines. Elon Musk's ex sues Lego Shell, more companies over advertising, boycott from platform. So he's basically suing these companies because they won't advertise on his hate-filled platform. I don't go on X much, but I guess there's tons more porn on there now, and of course there's right wing racist Nazis on there constantly badgering anybody who's empathetic or even is slightly left. And I mean, it's just a hateful platform now, and he calls it the free speech platform. Oh, and by the way, Musk bans anybody who says anything bad about him. It's free speech for me, according to Elon Musk, but not free speech for thee. He wants his free speech, but he doesn't want everybody else to have free speech, particularly if they're saying things that he doesn't like about himself. Elon Musk is suing more companies, alleging they joined a group of advertisers illegally conspiring to boycott the social media platform. On Saturday, Musk's lawyers filed an amended complaint explaining its 2024 lawsuit accusing the Global Alliance for Responsible Media, GARM, an advertising industry group and member companies formerly known as Twitter, after he bought the platform formerly known as Twitter in 2022. The original lawsuit alleged they conspired to collectively withhold billions in advertising revenue and specifically named several companies including CVS, Mars, Orsted, and Twitch. The new complaint adds Nestle, Abbott Laboratories, Colgate, Palmolive, Lego, Pinterest, more Muscades. The lawsuit alleges that GARM members companies acted to enforce the social media platform adherence to certain brand safety standards the group favored when they collectively stopped purchasing ads on X. The complaint also alleges the member companies celebrated when X did not meet its forecasted revenue goals and that the boycott continues to affect the company today, despite X applying standards which meet or exceed those specified by GARM. I don't know what the law is on that. Can you sue companies? You know, what happened to the free market? Can you sue companies for not buying your advertising space? Can I sue companies if they don't buy advertising space on my YouTube channel? Nestle, Abbott Laboratories, Colgate, Palmolive, Lego, Pinterest, Tyson Foods, and the Shell International did not immediately respond to USA Today's request for comment. Musk's lawyers argued social media companies should be able to set their own brand safety standards that are optimal for their platform and users in a competitive market, which would in turn inform advertisers' individual decisions about where to advertise. But collective action among competing advertisers to dictate brand safety standards to be applied by social media platforms shortcuts the competitive process and allows the collective views of a group of advertisers with market power to override the interests of consumers, the complaint continued. Yeah, but this is the free market. You can't make advertisers. I mean, Lego's going to advertise on your Nazi platform, your hate-filled Nazi pornographic platform. Since Musk's takeover and rebrand of Twitter to X, the platform and its algorithm has drastically changed. He fired Twitter's staff, cut content moderation, and reinstated some previously banned accounts, including President Donald Trump. All the while, X has had a contentious relationship with advertisers. Last year, ex-CEO Linda Yaccarino published an open letter to advertisers arguing ways the relationship has hurt the platform. Oh, boo hoo. We're all crying for the billionaire whose platform's hurt because he took over the United States government using that platform, spreading lies and propaganda about Kamala Harris and Donald Trump and, whatever it garbage he put out there. I mean, the amount of lies Elon Musk told on X during the election, or somebody should quantify them because there's many. Not to mention his racist remarks about Kamala Harris and his sexist remarks about Kamala Harris. I mean, Elon Musk is not a good person. He needs to, you know, get out of the spotlight, go get therapy, whatever he needs, or go to jail. And to top all that off, Tesla, the company that where Elon Musk made all his money and where all his wealth is stored is in Tesla stock, is tanking in Europe and California because people just don't like him, and they don't like him using the wealth that he got from them, his customers. It's their right to do it. The wealth he got from them to try and overtake the US government to make it work for him, for his giant contracts. You know, he's one of the biggest contractors of the US government. He gets more US government money than any other contractor. He gets all the money that used to go to NASA to build his rocket ships, you know, in his fantasy of going to Mars, which the science is not there. I mean, people should look into it. If you have any science background, people just don't live long enough right now to go to Mars. It's not really possible. We don't have cryogenic chambers that keep bodies frozen asleep for years until they reach Mars or anything like that yet. So he just wants to waste a lot of taxpayer money on his pet projects, and part of the way he's doing it is by taking over the US government from within. He just took control of the Treasury Department, and he took control of OPM, which is the human resources for all the government workers, and he's trying to cut all 2 million government workers out of the government, which is ridiculous. You won't get anything done. You won't get your Social Security checks or anything like that. Anyway, let's watch this video about Tesla, the car company, and what's going on with them.
Elon Musk has done pretty well for himself, particularly since his wealth over the past year has doubled to more than 400 billion US dollars. But his close relationship with Donald Trump appears to be hurting.
All right, $400 billion. I was wrong. He's got a ton of money. It's crazy. No one man should have that much money. There's people starving all over the US and all over the world, and one guy's got, do you know how much $1 billion is? You can't spend $1 billion in your lifetime, much less $400 billion.
Tesla's car sales, which were down 17% last year in Australia, and they dropped by more than 30% last month. In Europe, it was even worse, especially in France and Germany, where sales last month plummeted by more than 60%. For more on what's behind this, I spoke to Giles Parkinson, founder and editor of The Driven. Hello there, Giles. Tesla shares have taken quite a hit, as you can see. How much of this can be traced to Elon Musk himself and his personal brand?
It's always hard to quantify exactly the effect that Elon Musk is having, but the anecdotal evidence suggests it's very strong. You've mentioned Australia. Sales in January were 1/4 of what they were 2 years ago. Now, the overall market has not been strong, but Tesla has accounted for more than half of the Australian EV market in the last few years. So when they fall, it affects the rest of the market. We've seen that in Europe also, where the market is probably stronger than it is in Australia. In Norway, for instance, which is already at 96% electric vehicle share of the market and has actually been quite strong in the last month, Tesla has slumped quite sharply. It used to be the top-selling EV.
Wow, in Norway, 96% of the cars being bought are electric cars. That's insane compared to the US. It's probably like 10% or 5%. You know, Tesla used to be the only game in town. Now the Chinese are making, you know, there's several Chinese companies making e-cars or electric cars that are much cheaper than Tesla. And Tesla came out with the Cybertruck a couple of years ago. It's just been a disaster. I mean, I've seen that thing in person. It's not a good looking truck.
EV in that market, now it's number 6 or number 7. And we've seen that in France, in Spain, in UK, Germany, Netherlands, Portugal, the share of the number of Tesla sales has fallen significantly, and that really has been attributed a lot to the impact of Musk on his brand.
And over in the US, Tesla sales have gone backwards as well in the blue state of California, where the company's headquarters used to be. So what can you tell us about that?
Well, I think that's more of a pushback against Mr. Musk's politics. As you say, California is a blue state. It's the birthplace of Tesla. It's where the headquarters used to be. It's where the first manufacturing plant used to be. It's where you can see so many Teslas on the road. And look, we're hearing that people are walking into other car makers and saying, look, I want to buy an electric car, but I don't want to buy a Tesla anymore. And we're also hearing that people who own Teslas are feeling uncomfortable about that and are looking to see if they can either sell and shift to another brand. It's an extraordinary situation because the Tesla products are really quite admired because of their quality, but some people are just finding it really difficult to either buy or retain those cars.
So Giles, are these weaker sales results a cautionary tale on what happens when a company boss gets too involved in politics?
Well, I don't think we've ever seen anything quite as extraordinary as Mr. Musk's involvement in politics. I mean, he seemed to have taken such a...
Not in this century or even last century. I don't think any billionaire has gotten so deep into a government, especially the most powerful government in the world. I mean, basically taking it over. He's the pseudo president. Donald Trump is a, doddering old dotard who's out there saying he wants to take control of the Gaza Strip and, Greenland, and he's saying all this stuff. And in the background, Elon Musk and his merry band of 20-something tech weenies are taking over the computer systems and basically the main entities of the US government, like the Treasury and OPM and the FBI and the CIA.
A dominant role in the US administration that no one could really have predicted and no one has ever seen before. You think about other car makers. I mean, do we really worry? Do we know what the head of Toyota or even the Chinese government thinks about its politics? But there's been something about Mr. Musk's interventions, both in his political actions, but also what he said on Twitter, which is sort of, causing quite a reaction amongst consumers.
And are there any other factors which could be involved? For instance, more competition from Chinese EVs, which tend to be cheaper.
Well, we're certainly seeing that, and particularly in Australia. Tesla used to dominate this market, and now we're seeing those Chinese car makers coming in with lower priced and really quite good quality vehicles. There's also issues around inventory. Some people might have been waiting for the upgraded Model Y, which has been the best-selling EV in Australia for a while now, and is coming up with an upgrade in 6 months. So maybe some people are delaying their decision on that basis. So it would be wrong to say that Mr. Musk is the only impact on the stock. There are other factors, but I don't think it would be right to say that he's having no impact.
So overall, these falling sales, is this just a blip or the start of a more...
I would say Musk has a huge impact on the sales, more so than they're letting on. They don't want to, they're hedging their bets like everybody else, but I think he's had, more than 50% impact on all these numbers and statistics.
Or concerning trend for Elon Musk?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Certainly the signs in Europe and in North America are not looking good. In Australia, I guess the test, here and in other markets, will be the success of the new Model Y upgrade. But in Australia, it has a big impact because we now have a target for electric vehicles. We're trying to increase the rollout of those. Tesla has accounted for half the market in just the last year. If they continue to fall, then we're going to see major issues and a much slower uptake of EVs overall, and that's going to have an impact on the whole market, really.
Giles, thanks a lot for your insights. Really appreciate it.
Okay, guys, that's about all I have for today. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and subscribe and like and share and comment on my videos if you get anything out of these. That helps me greatly. I'm still a micro news and information channel, and I really want to be part of this space. I'm putting out lots of videos trying to get there. So do me a favor and like and subscribe. See you next time.